Chassa. My name is Addison Cadwell. I'm a 2024 senior. I play running back, wide receiver, and defensive back. I go to Ralston Valley High School, and I'm committed to play flag football at Kansas Wesleyan University. And it's time to sanction flag football in Colorado.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast here. We are continuing our Friday series of interviews here. We switched it up a little bit last week going back to tackle, but we are back to flag football here. And we have a very special guest, a historical guest, even on the pod today. If you'd like to introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and where you played football, as well as the position or positions that you play, we'd be delighted to hear.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Addison Cadwell. I play flag football at Ralston Valley, and this past season I was a running back, wide receiver, and DB.
On a very good squad as well, by the way. Congrats on an awesome season, and we'll talk about that later. And thank you so much for joining us on the show here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, and we are too. And the very first thing that we get into here is, making us relatable here to the fans. Everyone, regardless of whether they've played sports, if they consume sports, there's usually a favorite memory that's kind of tailed into that. As a Broncos fan, Nuggets fan, and Avalanche fan, I've been pretty spoiled in that regard as a fan lately. And, there's plenty of memorable games, moments, or seasons to think about. But I want to know, what's your favorite fan experience, whether this is a game that you saw in person that was a lot of fun. This could be a game that you watched on television. If you listen to it on the radio, we can include that as well, even though that's a little bit of a throwback. And it could be any team from any sport.
Yeah, I am gonna take it back a bit. So I've, been surrounded by sports my whole life. My parents both went to school in Iowa, and so we always would make a trip back there. And my grandpa, dad, and I would always go to their local baseball team. They're called the Explorers. And one day I got to go run around the bases there. And I also ended up catching like 3 balls, which was awesome. So I'd say that's one of my favorites. And another is, again, with my dad, we got to go to the Broncos, one of the Broncos games, and we got to go on the field, and I got my jersey signed. And we just got to get that field access. So those, I'd say, were some of my top 2 choices for a fan-based experience when it comes to sports.
I've had my fair share of awesome sports experiences, but as far as
field, I haven't been that lucky. So those are awesome experiences to have. And obviously, that kind of like minor league baseball setup, those experiences I always feel are definitely a bit more intimate, and you get that kind of close up feel regardless. And then to actually be running around the bases, that just takes it up one more notch. And getting jersey sign, that's sweet. I'm a little jealous. If I could pull a trade, I might propose it. But those are awesome experiences and memories. And it's awesome that you're bringing up from Iowa. I'll admit I'm a bit of a bandwagon, but at least I bandwagoned last year. Caitlin Clark and whatnot. Has definitely made an Iowa fan out of me. So at least you get to claim that you were there first.
Yes, exactly. I'm an OG Iowa fan for sure.
But that's awesome. And you said that you've been surrounded by sports your entire life, and that makes me even more interested. We talked prior to the interview, and leading up to it, I was aware that you are a multi-sport athlete. And so that makes me really curious on what maybe your favorite sports memory is while playing. This could be a single moment, a single play, a single score, a whole game that was really competitive and a lot of fun against like a rival, or anything memorable like that. We'd love to hear, from your lens, just what sports kind of means to you in that memory, and how special it is for you.
Yeah, honestly, this is a question and topic I could dive so deep into, but I'll try to keep my answer short. But yeah, growing up, playing sports, being a multi-sport athlete, I really have played just about every sport there is to offer. I've done soccer, softball, volleyball, basketball. I even went out for my school's mountain biking team my freshman year. So I've really done it all. But yeah, to kind of put a moment on, it would have to be either in our, state run and state game for flag football. Just honestly, as our inaugural year for flag football at Ralston Valley, it was truly just one of the best experiences in a couple months of my life, being surrounded by a brand new team, coaches, and just how far we took it. It was incredible. And then I'd also have to say, as for soccer, my sophomore year, we were playing at Valor Christian High School, and it was just, again, one of the most competitive games of my life. We're all playing, putting our hearts out on the line. And I remember after the game, the other coach actually ended up coming up to me and complimented me on my play and just said, that's how the game should be played. So that's something that has honestly stuck with me throughout my whole athletic career, and it's something I honestly pride myself in. But yeah, I'd say those are kind of top two memories for me, for sure.
Maybe a little bit of recency bias on the flag ones for sure, but I mean, that environment was so electric. I was really glad that we were able to go there, and I mean, we had 4 of us just trying to cover all 3 of those fields, and it was just crazy and nonstop, but very competitive. And yeah, the crowd was super into it, so that definitely made it super memorable, for us, just seeing the sway and the pull that y'all's performances had and the games had, and they were very competitive games as well at that. So that was definitely an awesome moment see, I get to talk about the fan side of that one. So there's a little bit of the flip side of the coin. And then, that's a very interesting memory that you brought up as well about the coach, the opposing coach that is, complimenting you, because I don't know if we've ever had anyone have anything really similar to that. And I mean, that has to be special because, I mean, the coach doesn't have to go out of his way to compliment, or they don't have to go out of their way to compliment your style of play. That is something that was a personal choice that they did. And, like, I'm going to find whatever your number was, and I'm going to let them know, hey, way to play out there. That's the way to do it. So usually it's just high fives, good game, and get back on the bus. So that's awesome that
exactly.
They approached you and let you know.
Yeah, thank you.
So kind of talking about that, like you said, inaugural season, very special season out there at RV. And there's a lot of like iconic moments from the season, I'd say, at least in the parts that I was able to see, as well as, Gideon or Gino or Coach V, who all say what's up, by the way. I'm speaking on behalf of them. But, lots of great plays throughout the season. And with it being the inaugural season, I guess, like, what were kind of your inspirations or thoughts heading into this flag football season? And what was kind of the excitement heading into something that was definitely a bit new in some ways?
I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. You're just kind of getting a group of athletes together and saying, hey, like, let's see what we can do. I know personally my mindset was like, hey, like, let's go win state. I had such huge confidence in my team and coaches, especially after like our first jamboree. I was like, all right, I think like we've got a shot at this, especially if we keep working hard. So I think, I just kept a pretty like positive mindset, brought lots of energy. And yeah, overall was like, let's go win state. Why not have the highest goal, never settle. So I'd say that's where I was at for sure.
Aimed high and definitely swung and connected high as well. Obviously, toppling the, defending state champs at the time definitely means something as well. And is a memory that was very well, encapsulated by some of your teammates who've been on the show, which, by the way, listeners, if you've not listened to our other flag interviews from the past month or so, go give those a listen anywhere you listen to podcasts. Sorry, a shameless plug right there. But
no, shout out Gianna Tate, Zoe Zoll, go listen to him.
Absolute. That's a good teammate right there. And I guess, what was that game like from your perspective? I definitely want to kind of get notes on that, and then, we'll kind of dive back in through the rest of the season if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, that Chatfield game, definitely one of our most competitive and honestly, hardest teams we'd play. So honestly, shout out to Chatfield girls flag football. You guys rocked. Thanks for giving us, real good game. That's always fun. That's what you want to see in, that type of setting. But I'd say also another, good memory for me from that game. I had this just awesome catch. It drove us down the line. I think it was even on a 4th down, which set us up into like the red zone area, giving us an option and an opportunity to score. So I'd say that is a really good memory for me. But overall, I remember it's a very high oh my gosh, sorry. It was a very high speed game. The ball was constantly in motion. We're running around, calling plays, just being super aggressive with it. And I'd say overall, and also like the fan base there was incredible. Like the energy was high. I remember we're just surrounded by, all these cheering. We had parents, students, faculty. So overall, that game was, definitely one of the most memorable of the season. And obviously it was great to eventually come out on top and end up in that semifinal spot.
And I mean, everything that you said was definitely true from the outside perspective. And then, the way that y'all battled back and forth too was pretty insane. And, I bet if we flipped through our notes all the way back in the fall of 2023, that feels so long ago, at least for us in the media, because we just can't wait for, hopefully next season here, barring the sanctioning, which we are there's definitely the interest for, I would say. But, we're definitely excited for the future of the sport, especially with how exciting and electric it's already been just 2 seasons in. Just absolutely awesome atmosphere and a very high level of competition as well for, a state, at least here in Colorado, I think, that doesn't, really have that infrastructure as far as like youth flag football goes to like build into this. And so to see the level of competition that we're at already from, like you said, athletes who didn't really know what to expect heading in other than they're just going to compete their tails off and try and win some football. That gets us very, very excited about where it's heading. And I guess, what are some things that you think the Ralston Valley program or coaches did that kind of helped y'all adapt to the game quickly and, become such a successful program and a powerhouse in the state in just 1 season?
Honestly, our coaches were just incredible. I could not have asked for a better, head coach and a better defensive coordinator. Like they truly embodied, I'd say, the spirit of flag football. We had a couple summer practices just kind of getting into it, but it was almost like rec. But then the second our season started, we took things serious. We locked in during practices, but we also had fun. So I'd say that was a really important factor that our coaches allowed, was a good balance of, focusing and being serious when that time was needed, but also allowing for good laughter and fun and creativity. I'd also say they did a really good job of honestly just investing in the team. I know my coaches, they created social medias for us. They were advocating for us, obviously, with the whole CHASA thing. We ended up lettering, even though it technically is not a CHASA sanctioned sport. But hopefully it will be in this next season. But honestly, they were just there for us, which I think, as a coach, that's all you can really ask for. But our coaches were just, they were incredible. I seriously could not have asked for a better two pair of Johnsons. Both of them were Coach Johnson to coach us to almost state championship.
Yeah, definitely not confusing at all for us here in the media trying to cover it.
Yeah.
But shout out Coach as well for, I believe it was Coach Johnson, defensive coordinator, and
Yes.
who actually, helped make this possible. So huge shout out to him and for y'all for being great sports and hopping on the show with us. So I do appreciate that. And I just guess, you alluded to the coaches a little bit here. And obviously you gave the shout out to your teammates who have their own interviews as well. But I guess, who are some teammates or maybe players that you interacted with in the offseason that made an impact on your game, and what was that impact? And, to kind of do a little add on to that as well, you play other sports. So I'm almost curious if there's some teammates from other sports who maybe didn't play flag that also pushed you in different ways that you think helped you out in flag football.
Yeah, that's a great question and point. Honestly, every single person on our flag football team pushed me to be a better athlete each and every day. And I hope I did the same for them. But outside of minus obviously the two girls who you've already talked to, one of actually now one of my best friends now, her name's Jill. She actually attends Stanley Lake High School. So that was really cool getting to meet someone from another school. We actually gave her the nickname of Gator. So shout out Gator. Love you, girl. And then also I got a shout out Reese Perkinson, Kate Stecker, Elena Roboff. Honestly, just everyone on the team. We were all always there for each other, always pushing each other to be better and supporting each other. If one of us got down or maybe we were losing, like we would pump each other up. We wouldn't let each other's heads drop. And so honestly, the entire team was so supportive. And as for like other sports, for example, my soccer team, all of them, flag football is very new here in Colorado. So lots of them had questions. So I was just answering about them. And I'd say, honestly, at soccer practices and games, when they're pushing me there, it's helping me to become a better athlete, which I think in turn helped out in flag football. And also, kind of to veer off track, my junior year, I ended up playing powder puff at my school, which was super fun, just, again, for fun. But my friend Margot, she's actually my goalkeeper for soccer, she was our quarterback at the time. And honestly, she is the one who really inspired me to play flag because her and I had a connection like no other. And so I'd say that's really what started the spark in me for flag football. And obviously outside of that were my parents always supporting me, and my sister as well. She was my biggest fan. So honestly, I'd just say the support from everyone and the love and just pushing me to be a better person and athlete on and off the field each and every day.
That's a great supporting cast and inspiration, obviously, to just have support almost everywhere that you look. I mean, it's definitely important for, any challenge or obstacle that you're going to be taking on, and much less a brand new sport in a brand new kind of environment and culture a little bit too. Just because, while you said your coaches, obviously, there's times to focus and there's times to have fun, which I'd say is mostly similar throughout any other sport. But I mean, definitely football with just like kind of every single play, something can happen that's huge, right? And,
Exactly, yeah.
making sure that you're locked in to prevent those big plays or making sure that you're locked in to, hurt the defense in different ways is just very different dynamic. And, I think that a lot of the supporting cast that you spoke of brought a lot of, that support is going to help you bring that energy and bring that focus no matter what kind of challenge you're taking on. So shout out to the rest of the supporting cast from PMC as well for making it possible and whatnot. And I guess kind of just talking about the season, you alluded to, the jamborees a little bit, and I just kind of want to pick your brain, at least pre-final tournament, obviously, on just some opponents or games that you had a lot of fun in or, were challenging and kind of helped y'all get ready for the postseason, or if there's any teams or, players on other teams that you think were a little underrated that kind of caught you by surprise a little bit. Obviously, we're not expecting names because we don't have like Max Prep's rosters of flag yet, so no need to be an encyclopedia. But if there's any squads or anything that stood out to you or, were really fun games through the regular season, I'm all ears, and I know that the audience is as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, every game, it's a new game, new day. So, yeah, gosh, I can't even begin to describe, but I'd say, the Pomona game obviously brought us some challenges in the regular season. I remember in one of our first games, I think it was against Denver East, they had this one girl on their team. She was quick, tall, obviously a force to be reckoned with. And I know, unfortunately, we never ended up playing Arvada West. I wish we did, but obviously, ended up being our state champs. So congratulations to them. I do wish we would have played them because I know they have some absolute studs of athletes on their teams. I know their quarterback, Sarah Walker, Sailor Swanson, all of them just incredible athletes. Some girls on the Chatfield team I remember were really solid. Some Valor girls for sure. They were very quick, good athletes all around. But honestly, every team we played obviously offered their own challenges for us to overcome and work towards the end goal of obviously pulling out with the win on top. So yeah, and I mean, shout out just to everyone this whole season. Shout out to our refs, the coaches, the teams, and just for providing such an incredible season of flag football.
Yeah, it does take everybody. As somebody who organizes leagues myself, I'm very, very thankful for our officials. It's not the most glamorous job for sure.
Yeah.
So shout out to them for holding it down and pushing through. And yeah, no, those are some awesome squads that we're definitely going to keep our eyes on next year. We know that there's a lot of returning talent coming to a handful of those squads. And obviously, Arvada West, I think that's a little hint for the athletic director, like schedule against the best and we'll be ready for the best,
exactly.
right? So,
and it's crosstown rivals. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to that game?
Exactly. I was about to say it's time to pack the stands, and I mean Jeffco represented really, really well this past season. Like you said, that Pomona squad, Chatfield obviously. Chatfield had two teams that were pretty solid.
Yeah.
All things considered, y'all obviously, and I'd even say that y'all's other squad was pretty good too. There's some pretty
100%. Yeah.
Pretty nice athletes on there, and yeah, obviously Arvada West bringing the whole thing home. So shout out Jeffco, and I guess what was the kind of like support from the rest of the community or like within the school, I guess? You kind of talked a little bit about how with soccer, sometimes people were asking about it, but I guess like within the halls and stuff, what was kind of the student support? And was that like, did you feel supported, I guess, for the flag football squad from the both community inside the school as well as, parents and stuff outside?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the beginning of the season, just because it was so new, I mean, honestly, none of my peers or even some of the administrators like had any idea about flag football, what it was. So when it started coming out, like, oh, like our flag football team's pretty good. Like they're coming out with these wins, they're actually pretty hyped about this. Oh, this is like a real sport. It's not just powder puff. So towards the end of the season, we definitely started to gain a lot more support. Especially from, our admin. They were giving us shout outs during announcements. Kids in the halls would sometimes come up and congratulate us. It still definitely wasn't as much as, you'd think regular football, basketball, definitely more well-known sports, the support they get. But definitely towards the end of our season, we gained a lot more support and just people who were like, oh, like this is actually really cool. Like, congrats. So I'd say that's kind of where the support system was at. But hopefully it's going to grow, in seasons to come.
Absolutely. You build the bandwagon and they jump on, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
Obviously y'all were doing something right there. And I mean, the record also reflects that and the postseason success as well. And, it's hopefully, once it becomes sanctioned and kind of like centralized with CHSAA, I know that the Broncos were, trying for sure, but it was definitely hard to find game information sometime. And I was living on those Instagram pages, just like, okay, where's the next jamboree? Oh my gosh, this is posted on Friday night. We'll figure it out, I guess. So definitely think that everything's trending in the right direction. There is a lot of participation. And I mean, what has this opportunity kind of meant for you? And, we can kind of open the door on this a little bit here too, as well, since you have recently committed to play like football at the next level, I believe, right? So I just kind of want to get your perspective on, what this opportunity has meant and just kind of what that recruiting story kind of looked like.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, this opportunity for me, being able to now, I am signed with Kansas Wesleyan University. I'll be attending there in the fall to go play flag football. Which I'm just beyond grateful and excited for. But honestly, the opportunity arose truly in just the past couple of months. It wasn't anything on my radar, nothing on my family's radar. But all of a sudden, I kind of got into contact with a couple coaches. I actually was in contact with the Arvada West coach, Coach Rio. And from there, I'm gaining connections and all of a sudden offers start flowing in. I'm all like, wow, like this is real. I have this incredible opportunity to be a trailblazer for, young girl athletes to follow in my footsteps. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to go play because one, I just have so much fun on the field. It brings me such an incredible joy. And two, I mean, who wouldn't want to be a trailblazer? Like, this is something that will go down in history. So I again, I'm beyond blessed and incredibly grateful for this amazing opportunity.
And huge congratulations from us. We kind of talked about it briefly before the interview, but we have a pretty strong relationship with KWU. We actually cover NAIA flag football every spring, and we have more or less since, I want to say its second season is when we really started to ramp up coverage on it and start talking about games and watching the streams and stuff. And we've been very blessed with the community that surrounds NAIA flag football. It's a very strong, positive, and awesome community. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, listeners, once again, another shameless plug here. Every Tuesday, recaps on college women's flag football. But, to get reached out there, and Coach Rio is awesome. He does a great job of advocating for athletes all over the state, regardless of school here. And you can kind of see that reflected in the other opportunities that have kind of presented themselves. But, you had 2 offers as well. And I guess kind of what were some things that were going through your mind as, the recruiting process kind of sprung up and happened? And what were some things that you think you learned about yourself and the process that you think would be valuable to potentially future athletes?
Honestly, it's just what feels right for you. When I was little, I always grew up wanting to be a college athlete. So when the opportunity arose, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to do it. But I'd say, again, never listen to people around you, even if it's like parents, friends, grandparents, coaches, teammates. Like, it should truly come from your heart and from you. No other person should necessarily, they can have a say in it. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. And so I'd say, take that advice, do with it what you will. But yeah, that's kind of what I got to say on that. Just again, also it's in God's timing. So don't ever compare your, story, your steps, your success to anyone else, because we each are living our own lives, and everything will pan out the way it's meant to.
Absolutely got to love and respect that response. And yeah, I mean, because I definitely feel like as an athlete, there's some pressure, because there's like early signing day and then there's signing day. And sometimes it's like, well, if I haven't committed, is it the end of the world? No, it'll all is well that ends well is
exactly.
Something that I've been saying quite a bit lately. And I think that, this is an excellent example. And I mean, talking about Kansas Wesleyan, just because I am a bit more familiar with this program and Coach Melinda as well, who's done a great job with that program, by the way. I don't know if you've been keeping track of their games so far this season, but they're off to a pretty hot start.
Yeah,
and, go Yotes, right? But, what were some things that you think kind of stuck out, whether that was talking to Coach or just about Kansas Wesleyan that, kind of made the choice a little bit easier for you? And this isn't necessarily things that, other programs didn't have. It's just things that made, KWU feel like it could be home.
Yeah. Honestly, so I went and visited there. I did an on-campus visit with my parents. And the day we went, actually, it was a super beautiful day, bluebird sky, sun was out. They have a beautiful campus there. They have lots of different activities, sports. They have very nice dorms. Their cafeteria food was good, which is always a plus.
Very important,
yes,
especially
exactly.
as a student athlete.
They have great athletic facilities. They got 2 turf fields. They have a new weight room. And overall, I mean, everyone I met was just so nice and very helpful for getting around campus. And also just the town of Salina itself. Truly, I was like, this feels like home. I can see myself here for the next 4 years. And there's also lots to do there. You think of Kansas and, you think flat hills, nothing else. But this town is actually, it's a beautiful town, lots to do. And honestly, Coach Nguyen and all the girls actually got the opportunity to do a quick practice with them, which definitely I'd say set in stone my decision to decide to commit there. Everyone was just so welcoming, so nice, all incredible athletes. I cannot wait to be joining the squad. And of course, Coach Nguyen herself, she truly is just a wonderful coach, and I can't wait to learn more from her. And again, she's just supported me in this decision, along with, again, my parents, siblings. And so again, just I'd say being there on campus, getting to, feel things out and how it might be is what really helped me make my decision.
And I appreciate you sharing that perspective just because, that I definitely think gives, up and comers something to kind of expect or to look for just because, I mean, recruiting, you can get as much advice as you want on it, but it is such a unique experience and opportunity that kind of happens really, really fast. So
Yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that and
of
giving
course.
us
Yeah.
the lowdown for that. And yeah, like you said, Coach has done a great job of building an awesome culture there. And, the day before the national championships down in Atlanta, got to hang out with them quite a bit. And they were helping run drills at this like combine that was being hosted at the Falcon Stadium. So, I think that not only do they enjoy, the company of each other as well as, playing winning football as well for KWU, but I do think that there is a love for the game as well that
Mhm.
this program definitely emphasizes and focuses on. So, definitely got to give a little bit of shout outs there. And yeah, just very glad that you got that opportunity. I just want to say congratulations once again on behalf of myself and the rest of the pod. It's just so awesome that you got that opportunity. And like you said, being a trailblazer for Colorado high school athletes and young girls and women here who are trying to, see what their opportunities are. And I guess what would it mean for this state, do you think? And, for the athletic culture and even for the sport as a whole, should Colorado sanction it? And, why should Chassa sanction it?
Oh, I mean, I think Colorado and Chassa should 100% sanction girls flag football. One, I mean, it's a legit sport, It's no powder puff, like there is contact, there is competitiveness, These are true athletes who are willing to do whatever it takes to come out on top. And also, I mean, I think it would just be an incredible mark in history, and I feel like the more the sport grows, just the more opportunities there are going to be for athletes all around the world, especially women in sports, of course. So I just think it would mean the world to all the coaches and all the girls here who have been a part of and playing flag football now for the past couple of years here in Colorado to then see it getting sanctioned. It would just show that all of our hard work was not for nothing and that it has paid off.
Absolutely. And I mean, honestly, if we're not sanctioning it, we're just behind more than anything, is my opinion, because it's here and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And are you aware that flag football has been added to the Olympic program for the
I
2028
am,
games in
yes.
LA?
I am beyond excited about that.
Exactly. And it's like there can be players on the college level that are chosen for this national team. And how cool would it be to have someone from Colorado? Like, let's not
Exactly.
limit
Like,
our
yes.
opportunities here.
100%. Yeah.
We're a mile above. We got something going on here. Check out the rest of our
Exactly.
athletics. But yeah, no, it's very exciting, and I definitely want to make sure that our appreciation and gratitude for what you've done, as well as all of the other athletes who are moving on to the next phase, and athletes who should hopefully continue to pave that path of excellence, this fall and every fall after that, for however long, high school athletics is in full swing. I definitely appreciate everything that y'all are doing and, the sacrifice and dedication of your time and commitment to do so. And especially in this early phase of it, it's so, so important. Like, yes, we are getting looks as a, state that doesn't even have it sanctioned yet. Like, just imagine what we can do when we invest these resources into it.
I 100% agree with you. Exactly.
And, kind of dialing it back a little bit, back to your future in particular here, you got a chance to do that practice that you kind of talked about here and, work on those relationships and get to meet all those players. And obviously while there's obviously high caliber athletes on your own squad and in the state of Colorado, you get a little bit of an appreciation going against, some college athletes. And I guess what are some things that you are going to try and work on this off season to prepare for collegiate athletics? And I mean, what are some of your outlooks or goals for college ball?
Yeah, great question. Obviously continue to just get more agile and speed, that's always, an upper hand in the game. And continue to work on, sharp routes. Definitely work on my defense and flag pulling, and then obviously, hand-eye coordination and just catching the ball, because, you can't really do much if you can't catch a ball. So honestly, all of it overall for sure. Just trying to get to and work towards that college level so that you can perform with such obviously high level athletes. And just, get ready for the season and for what college flag football is going to be.
Those are all great points of emphasis. And, I'm going to, this is a little bit of a callback way back in the day, but it's all good. We actually broke down Alexa's film, linebacker at KWU, for those who don't know, Alexa Mansour. And we watched her high school film, broke it down, gave her some things to work on. And it was really funny because, I was like, she could work on her hands a little bit. And she's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And I'm just going to give her a little bit of a hard time here because, Alexa, don't think we didn't see. You had a dropped interception this past week, so go ahead and get those reps in with Alexa, get those catches in. And Alexa, it's all love, by the way, here at the pod. Don't hold it against me when we catch up in Atlanta. But, those are great things to work on because it is just so important no matter what side of the football you're on to be able to make those plays, force turnovers, get touchdowns, and, make all the cool plays, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I think that those are great areas to focus on, and I think that your plan to double back to those is going to get you well prepared for the spring. And I mean, especially in flag, rosters, it's not like a 50-person roster. Like, you really could find yourself in at any moment in any game. So just being ready to do whatever is necessary to either secure a win or maintain those leads and whatnot is integral. So I think that your dedication to the sport and everything has you on a great trajectory to make an impact on the next level. And, with all of your experience in and around sports, I do wonder, especially with everything that you've contributed so far and that importance on that legacy and that trailblazing, would you ever consider down the line, of course, or whether you would do it at the same time, I guess is possible, but giving back to the sport via X's and O's and potentially coaching someday?
Yes, 100%. It's actually something that I've discussed with my parents, because, with the amount of growth that has happened with flag football, there will definitely be a need for coaches. And so, as I continue to definitely learn and study the game of flag, I feel like I could 100%, end up as a coach or, down the line, like you said, end up coaching, who knows where. But yes, I have 100% thought about that, and have considered it. Again, there's always stuff to improve on. So I hope that one day, when my athletic career may be retired, that I can spread my knowledge and share it with others, in hopes that they can, again, get to just such a high level of athleticism and competitiveness.
I love to hear that. And, I think that with the continued upward trend of flag football here, like you said, there's definitely going to be a need. And, hopefully this thing just continues to grow. I know that the NCAA has to be feeling some pressure themselves, especially as the sanctioning of flag football is spreading kind of across the country very, very fast. So hopefully the NCAA feels that and, starts running programs that aren't just club teams and actually expand into that varsity sport era that, seems to be the trend of not only flag football, but just the game of football in general. It's a great thing for the game. It brings a whole lot of creativity. The space makes it a lot of fun to play. And I definitely think that flag's uniqueness is definitely what makes it such an appealing product as a spectator and such a fun game to play as an athlete, especially multi-sport athletes, because you can transfer a lot of the skills, and then the barrier to entry is significantly lower, not having to, wear all those bulky pads and buy shoulder pads and stuff.
It's definitely a plus of flag football.
Yeah. And, I'll also, as somebody who played tackle, I still love the game, but a few less potential concussions, might be a little bit nicer. So, but no, I think that it's awesome that you're looking to give back, and Coach Johnson, look out. She might be coming back for your job.
I'm coming for you.
Future, so
if you're listening, I'm coming for you, Mr. Johnson.
So, that's fun and awesome to hear. And, with the idea of coaching and being a leader, whether that's, of college athletes, high school athletes, any level or anything like that, that kind of gets me thinking and want to get you almost into that mindset of advice that you would give. But, instead of giving this to some of your players, I want you to kind of give advice to a freshman version of yourself, whether that's on recruiting, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's, things that you've learned through relationships with friends or coaches or anything like that, anything on the field that you wish you knew, just whatever advice you think would be helpful to, the freshman version of yourself to put yourself in a better position now. What would you say? And, for our young listeners, just try and heed this, because obviously there's a transference of usefulness in these words.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just, don't take life too seriously. Again, stay focused in school, don't let your grades slip. Not that they have. I promise I keep good grades. But again, just, stay focused on your academics. Always push yourself. I know some days it might be hard to, get out of bed, but focus and think of the fact that, there could be someone out there who's, in the gym and you're not, and they're getting better than you. So almost have like a competition with yourself, not even any others, but try to be better than the person you were yesterday, both on and off the field. As for recruiting, I'd say, again, just trust the process. Don't, focus on what's happening with others. And just, again, relax, trust in God's timing, and continue to just be yourself. Don't be influenced by others. Don't, do whatever. Just continue to be yourself, and the right people and things will flow into your life. As well as, listen to your parents. They tend to have pretty good advice. They've lived a bit longer than you have. So what they have to say is pretty valuable knowledge. And again, just realize that your teammates and coaches, they're your second family. So treat them with respect. And honestly, just have fun with it. Life's short, so have fun.
Absolutely agree. And you never know what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis, but just try and make the most of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you've done a great job of this. Maybe even a better job than anyone that we've had on the show. Obviously, we've had people do a great job of shouting out people who are important to them. But, I still want to give you this chance here at the end, just because, just football, it's a team sport. It takes the whole team to win, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. And I think that the same thing is said of, living a life and developing positive role models and athletes such as yourself. And so we want to just give you the floor to mention anyone who's been important to your life, whether that's in academics or athletics, and just give you a chance to, thank them here on the show, whether it's friends, family, coaches, fellow players, teachers, anything like that. This is your chance to give the shout outs. And then the advice that I always give, just because sometimes when there's so many positive influences in your life, as you've mentioned, I just throw a little, and everyone else who's been important. That's a nice little grab all as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many important people in my life. Let's see. I mean, obviously, first, I want to thank my parents. They have been with me through thick and thin. They've supported me in all of my athletic endeavors. And just growing up, they've always supported me in every decision I've made. So I love you guys. Thank you again just for all of your support. Second, shout out to my sister, McKenna. I hope that I can be a role model for you. And even though, we're a little different when it comes to athletics, you have always been my number one fan. And I am just forever grateful for you and for our bond. Again, love you too. Shout out to just all my friends and teammates. Again, you guys are my second family. You guys mean the world to me. You push me to be a better person and a better player each and every day. Just shout out to you guys. I love you. Again, all of my coaches across all my sports, both soccer and flag football, you guys, you're my rock. You guys have taught me all my fundamentals and, again, given me different perspective on sports and helped to create me into the athlete that I am today. Especially shout out to, both Coach Johnsons. I know this was pretty much a volunteer work for you guys. So thank you again for all of your work and efforts that you put into our inaugural flag football season at Ralston Valley. You guys seriously mean the world to us girls. I know that. So thank you again. Again, thank you. Shout out to you, Cody, for having me on the podcast. I seriously appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity. Also, shout out to Coach Nguyen and the flag football team out at KW. I am beyond excited to join you guys. And again, thank you just for this incredible opportunity to continue my academic and athletic career there. And finally, shout out to God. Thank you, Lord, just, for this incredible opportunity and for guiding my life and putting me down this path. And yeah, I mean, honestly, shout out to everyone. Shout out to my competitors, to my coaches. You guys seriously are what makes competition so fun. And I think that's about it.
No, that was a good one. If anyone has any qualms with it, just tell them to re-listen to the episode or something. And there's definitely times that they were probably shouted out in the background or something like that. So they could bring that up with somebody else. But I think that's a great shout out. And, on behalf of myself and the rest of the people at the podcast, Coach V, Gino, Gideon, we appreciate everything that you've done for the state, for this sport. And we also echo your thanks to everyone in your gratitude letter here near the end of the episode. And yeah, we are just, speechless, honestly, at everything that they've contributed so that way you could produce what you have for the state and continue to carry that legacy and that torch, obviously, heading towards the future in college athletics and for the future of flag football and the sport of football as a whole. So thank you so much. And, for the people to track this story here and, your progress and just see kind of what happens for your future, where can the people find you on social media so that way we can build up that NIL following here?
Yeah. So my Instagram is just Addison_Cadwell. And lots of people tend to misspell my name, even though it's really not that challenging, but that is just Cadwell, exactly how it sounds, no extra L's. But yeah, Addison_Cadwell is my Instagram. So that's where you can find me. That's where I'll be posting all my flag football updates and honestly just updates about my life.
Awesome. So go ahead and make do like myself. I feel kind of bad that we didn't give you the follow back yet here, but there's the follow back from Playmakers Corner. So we covered our bases, so you, the listener, should cover your bases. And oh man, that reminds me, speaking of building up this following here, I feel like you could have an interesting answer to this question. This is a fun question that we throw in sometimes here. What is your dream NIL or brand deal potentially?
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of good ones here, but I feel like you maybe thought about this before. I just have a hunch.
Oh man, I mean, there's just wow, even just the thought of an NIL deal is just, oh my gosh, that's mind blowing. But gosh, any huge, sports company, whether that's, Nike, Gatorade, yeah, I actually haven't even put much thought into that. But I would be grateful for anything. I don't even know what all of the companies that do NIL deals are. But yeah, truly any of them I would be, grateful for. And that would just be incredible if that were to ever, happen or be a possibility.
I was about to say you were excited about the area surrounding and the town of Salina, so maybe you get real familiar with some of those businesses. And if you make it on a commercial, you better send it on over so that we can repost it on the story.
Oh, I will. Don't even worry about it. I will get real close with them.
Absolutely. So once again, make sure to follow Addison_Cadwell. That's not Caldwell, Cadwell.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
on the gram. And while you're at it, make sure that you find Playmakers Corner, whether that's Instagram, Twitter /X, Facebook. We're on there at Playmakers Corner, on Twitter /X at Playmaker Corner. And in addition to that, we're also on TikTok as well as YouTube, posting reels and shorts and episodes. And our episodes are also posted basically anywhere you listen to podcasts, including the big hitters, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and yeah, full episodes on YouTube. So follow, subscribe, all that jazz to all of those. Addison, once again, thank you so much for joining us on today's show.
Thank you again so much for having me.
Of course, and I have been your host for this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for more interviews, as we do have some more flag football athletes from Colorado whose stories we can't wait to share with you. So stay tuned for those on Fridays, and our NAIA flag football recaps. Go ahead and start learning about some of these teams so that way you can see how the Colorado talent stacks up on the collegiate level. But like I said, I've been Cody Stauffer. Peace.